The galaxy was quiet on the outer edge of human space when the HSS Aurora detected a faint signal. It was so weak that most scanners almost ignored it, but a young officer caught it at the last second and reported it to Commander Natalie Green. She was standing near the main display, reviewing patrol routes with her crew, when the report reached her. She looked at the signal with a long and careful gaze, and a small worry began to grow inside her. Something about the pattern felt strange, almost like a whisper asking for help. Natalie was not someone who ignored danger or distress. She had spent many years exploring deep space, and she knew that even the smallest signal could mean lives hanging by a thread. She gave a simple order to her navigation crew. They were to change course toward the source immediately. Lieutenant Aaron Keller, her second in command, stepped beside her. He was calm but curious, and he had seen enough strange events in space to know this might not be an ordinary discovery. He asked if she believed it could be a trap. Natalie did not dismiss the possibility. Many pirates faked distress signals to pull ships into danger. Some alien groups did the same. But the signal felt different. It was too weak, too broken, too desperate. When the Aurora reached the location, the view on the screen made the entire bridge fall silent. Floating in the darkness were several massive alien ships, all heavily damaged. Their hulls were cracked as if something powerful had shaken them apart. Some ships had no lights at all. Others flickered weakly, like dying embers. It was clear that these vessels were no threat to anyone. They were barely holding together. Natalie ordered a full scan, and the results shocked the crew. Hundreds of life signs were detected, but many were fading quickly. They were alive, but only barely. A medical officer whispered that if they did not receive help soon, they might not survive long. The alien ships belonged to a species the crew had never seen before. Their technology looked old but graceful, with smooth curves and glowing lines. Natalie requested a communication attempt, even though the ships seemed too damaged to reply. To her surprise, a transmission came through. The image was blurry, full of static, but a face appeared. It was long and slightly translucent, with calm eyes filled with sorrow. The being introduced himself as Elder Valen of the Solari people. His voice was tired and soft as he explained their situation. The Solari home system had been destroyed by something they called the Cosmic Storm. It was a strange and violent force that came without warning, swallowing planets and leaving nothing behind. The Solari fled, seeking help from the United Galactic Council, but the Council turned them away. They tried other powers in the galaxy, but every one of them refused to take them in. Some believed the Solari carried unknown diseases. Others feared they would drain resources. Many simply did not want political problems. In the end, the Solari were pushed out of every border, told to survive on their own. Natalie listened in silence. She felt anger and sadness building in her heart. Turning away refugees in their darkest moment felt cruel. Aaron felt the same. He stepped forward and asked Elder Valen what they needed most. The alien answered with a simple truth. They needed safety, food, medical care, and time. Their ships were falling apart, and their people were losing hope. The human crew exchanged uneasy glances. Helping them would not be easy. It could anger the Galactic Council. It could put humanity in the center of a political storm. But Natalie cared more about lives than politics. She promised Elder Valen that humanity would not abandon them. She ordered her crew to prepare rescue teams and medical units. The Aurora extended docking bridges to the alien ships. When the first teams entered the Solari vessels, the scenes inside were heartbreaking. Families huddled together in dark halls. Children sat beside wounded elders. The air was thin and cold. Many Solari bowed respectfully when they saw humans, their faces expressing relief and disbelief. For them, someone had finally come. Aaron helped guide groups of Solari into the Aurora's safe chambers. He tried to keep his voice calm and gentle. Many Solari were frightened, unsure if they could trust humans, but their fear slowly faded as they saw how carefully and kindly the rescue teams worked. One child reached out and touched Aaron's hand, whispering in a trembling voice that she thought her people would disappear forever. Aaron felt a tightness in his chest. He assured her that she was safe now. Meanwhile, Natalie contacted human colony leaders to inform them about the situation. Some leaders supported her decision, believing humanity had a duty to help those in need. Others were unsure. A few even warned that helping the Solari might bring trouble. The Galactic Council might blame humanity for interfering in matters beyond their authority. There were also concerns about disease, technology risks, and resource shortages. Natalie listened to every opinion, but she already knew what she felt was right. She believed humanity had grown strong not because of power alone, but because of compassion, unity, and the courage to stand by others. She refused to make decisions out of fear. She told the colony leaders that she would escort the Solari to a secure medical station where they could receive proper care. If the council questioned her, she would answer for it herself. She would not let suffering beings die in the cold of space just to avoid political problems. The first group of Solari was brought aboard. The crew gave them blankets, warm food, and medical checks. The aliens responded with quiet gratitude. Their voices were soft, their gestures gentle. They seemed like a peaceful people who had endured far too much. As more Solari boarded the Aurora, the ship became crowded but warm. Humans and Solari worked side by side to organize sleeping areas, distribute food, and transport the injured. Aaron spent hours helping doctors translate basic phrases the Solari used. He learned that their language relied on soft tones and slow rhythm. It was beautiful, but sad, almost like music from a memory. Natalie visited the injured in the medical wing. She watched doctors treat wounds caused by falling debris, collapsing halls, and sudden pressure failures inside the alien ships. She felt a deep respect for the Solari. Even in their suffering, they helped each other selflessly. Elder Valen was brought to the Aurora's briefing room. He thanked Natalie for saving his people, but he also warned her that the galaxy might not accept her actions. He knew many species feared the Solari. He did not want humanity to suffer because of them. Natalie replied that humanity would decide its own path, not one dictated by distant powers. She believed that if the galaxy rejected the Solari, then humanity would show the galaxy another way. Hours passed as the Aurora carefully guided the alien fleet toward a human medical station. The journey was tense. Some Solari ships barely held together. Human engineers were sent to reinforce their fragile hulls. Aaron worked with a team to stabilize one of the main vessels that had a damaged energy core. If it collapsed, hundreds could be lost. Their work was dangerous, but they succeeded. As they approached the station, Natalie received a sudden communication. It was from a member of the Galactic Council. His tone was cold. He reminded her that humanity was still a young species in the galaxy, and helping the Solari without permission could be seen as a violation of interstellar law. He suggested she should step back and let the Council handle the refugees. Natalie asked where the Council intended to send them. The answer was simple and brutal. The Solari would be moved to a remote region where they could survive on their own without interfering with other species. But Natalie knew what that meant. It was not help. It was exile. She calmly replied that the Solari were under human protection now. The council representative warned that this was a dangerous decision. Natalie ended the call without fear. When the Aurora arrived at the medical station, thousands of human volunteers were already waiting. They worked quickly to set up clean areas, food centers, and health clinics. The Solari were welcomed with warm lights and soft voices. Many Solari cried quietly when they stepped inside, overwhelmed by the kindness they had found. Even with the heavy workload, the mood felt hopeful. Humanity had shown a rare and powerful kindness. It had done something the entire galaxy had refused to do. At the end of the long day, Natalie walked into the viewing deck and looked out at the stars. The damaged Solari ships floated gently near the station. Their lights flickered, but for the first time in a long while, they flickered with hope. Aaron soon joined her. He asked if she regretted her choice, knowing it might lead to trouble. Natalie shook her head. She believed that some choices defined who they were as a species. If humanity did not stand for compassion, then what did it stand for? Aaron smiled weakly. He agreed with her. He also believed the galaxy had made a terrible mistake. when it turned its back on the Solari. Humanity was not perfect, but it had a heart strong enough to embrace those who needed help. Natalie whispered that this was only the beginning. Something larger was happening in the galaxy. Something dangerous. The destruction of the Solari home system was not natural. She felt it deep in her bones. The cosmic storm was not just a tragedy, it was a warning. But for now, she allowed herself a small moment of peace. The Solari were safe, at least for the moment. Humanity had taken its first brave step into a future that would test them like never before. And in the silent cold of space, the galaxy watched. The Solari slowly began to adjust to their new environment on the human medical station. Some of them still moved carefully, afraid that any sudden action could damage their fragile bodies. Children clung to parents, elders rested quietly, and the sick were tended to with the utmost care. Every corner of the station was filled with gentle voices, soft footsteps, and the quiet hum of machinery working to keep everyone safe. Natalie walked through the corridors often, checking on both humans and Solari. She saw hope returning in small gestures. A child smiling while receiving a warm meal, an elder nodding in quiet gratitude, or a young Solari exploring a human garden for the first time. Lieutenant Aaron Keller spent his days translating, teaching basic human language, and helping the Solari understand the routines of the station. He quickly formed a connection with a young Solari named Eli, who was curious, brave, and surprisingly open despite everything she had suffered. She asked countless questions about humans, about the ships, and about the stars. Aaron explained everything as simply as he could, enjoying the moments when she laughed at the simplest things. He realized that understanding one another was more than language. It was trust. And trust was slowly building between them. Despite the peace inside the station, tensions began to rise outside. Word of humanity helping the Solari spread quickly through neighboring human colonies. Many people were supportive, praising the decision to give refuge to a species that the galaxy had abandoned. Others, however, were skeptical or even angry. Some feared political consequences, while others were afraid of unknown diseases or alien technology. Rumors began to circulate that helping the Solari could provoke the Galactic Council, or that the aliens might hide secrets that could harm humans. Natalie received a message from Ambassador Luke Harper, a senior council liaison. He was polite, but his tone carried warning. He reminded her that the Galactic Council did not approve of humanity taking responsibility for the Solari. According to him, humans were interfering in matters they did not fully understand. He suggested that the station hand over the aliens immediately. Natalie read the message and felt a tight knot in her chest. But she did not hesitate. She drafted a calm reply. Humanity would not abandon those who needed help. The Solari had nowhere else to go. She explained that they were not only giving refuge but ensuring the survival of an innocent people. She knew this might anger the council, but she believed that right actions were more important than fear. Meanwhile, Aaron continued his work with Eli. She often asked about the cosmic storm that had destroyed her home. She said she remembered nothing of the event itself, only the panic and the helplessness of her people as they fled. Aaron listened and encouraged her to talk about her feelings. She described sadness, shame, and a sense of being unwanted. It was clear that the rejection of the Galactic Council had left a deep scar on her people. One day, a human scientist named Sophia Grant approached Aaron with an unusual discovery. While examining the remains of one of the damaged Solari ships, she had found a hidden data core. It appeared heavily encrypted, but the patterns suggested it held crucial information. Natalie approved a team to carefully extract and study the data. They worked quietly, aware that any mistake could destroy whatever secrets it contained. Eli watched the scientists work. She explained that the core had been with her people since the storm. It was a record of their history, their knowledge, and their experiences during the destruction of their home system. The Solari believed it held proof that they were innocent, that the cosmic storm was not caused by them but by some unknown force beyond their control. The idea that humans were now helping them access this evidence filled her with a cautious hope. As the team decrypted the core, strange patterns and signals began to emerge. It was not just a record of history. It contained information about the cosmic storm itself. Aaron and Sophia realized that the storm had characteristics of an artificial phenomenon. Its destructive patterns were precise, almost like something had created it intentionally. This discovery worried Natalie deeply. If the storm was not natural, then something powerful and dangerous could still be active in nearby star systems. During this time, Ambassador Harper sent another message. He demanded that humanity hand over the Solari and the data core immediately. He warned that refusal could be considered an act of defiance, which might lead to conflict with the Galactic Council. The words were polite but carried a heavy threat. Natalie gathered her team. She explained the situation plainly. She said that surrendering the Solari to the Council would be a betrayal. The Council had already abandoned them once. The data in the core might reveal truths the Council did not want exposed. Natalie made it clear that humanity could not compromise its values for fear of outside pressure. Aaron, Sophia, and other officers nodded in agreement. They all understood that the next steps could be dangerous. But they also knew that protecting life was more important than obeying threats. Eli watched Natalie speak and felt an unfamiliar sense of safety. For the first time since her home was destroyed, she believed that someone would stand by her people. The human station became a place of careful vigilance. Scientists, engineers, and medical staff worked around the clock. The Solari began sharing more about their culture. They described festivals, songs, and rituals that they had preserved even in exile. Aaron and Sophia listened eagerly, fascinated by their knowledge of astronomy and their connection to the stars. The Solari spoke of their homes not as buildings, but as networks of living gardens, flowing energy, and communities built around care for each other. One evening, Aaron and Eli were outside on a viewing platform. Stars stretched endlessly before them. But their conversation focused on the past and what lay ahead. Eli confided that many of her people still feared humans might abandon them, just as the Council had abandoned them. Aaron reassured her, telling her that humanity was different, that they believed in second chances. She smiled softly, and for a moment, the pain of her past seemed to fade. Natalie, however, remained aware of the larger dangers. She arranged secret meetings with the station's scientists to analyze the decrypted data core further. As the core's information became clearer, they discovered a troubling fact. The cosmic storm that destroyed the Solari system was spreading in a subtle but measurable way. Small anomalies were appearing near human colonies, undetectable by ordinary scans but growing stronger each day. If left unchecked, they could eventually threaten populated systems. The revelation shocked everyone. Not only had the Solari suffered a tragedy, but the galaxy might face a new danger, one that many species had ignored. Natalie realized that humanity's decision to help the Solari might have unknowingly positioned them to uncover a threat that others had missed or ignored. Tensions mounted as the Council's agents grew impatient. They sent surveillance drones near the station, recording every movement. Harper warned again that humanity was acting against established galactic norms. He hinted that other species might not be pleased with humans interfering, especially if the Solari were proven innocent of any blame for the storm. Natalie stood firm. She reminded her crew that their priority was protecting the Solari and uncovering the truth. She explained that knowledge was power, and hiding it could be dangerous. If the storm was artificial, someone or something had the ability to create massive destruction. Humanity had a chance to act before it reached other worlds. Aaron spent more time with Eli and the younger Solari, helping them adapt to new routines. Together, they explored the station's gardens, laboratories, and observation decks. Eli showed Aaron how her people used sound and vibrations to communicate subtly, and he tried to replicate it. Though imperfect, the effort built trust. It became clear that the Solari had a depth of intelligence and skill the galaxy had failed to recognize. One day, while examining the data core, Sophia discovered a hidden sequence that revealed the storm was not a natural event. It was triggered by a dormant alien machine, ancient and massive, floating in uncharted space. This machine had activated suddenly, creating the destructive storm patterns that had annihilated the Solari home system. The Council had likely known of its existence but had chosen to cover it up, blaming the Solari instead. The revelation angered Natalie, Aaron, and the scientists. The Solari had suffered not because of any fault of their own, but because the galaxy preferred to ignore inconvenient truths. It was injustice in its purest form. Natalie realized that humanity's role was not just to help the Solari survive, but to ensure that the truth reached the galaxy before more lives were destroyed. Meanwhile, small conflicts began to appear among humans on the station. Some still doubted the Solari's innocence. They whispered about potential risks, fearing that the aliens could bring trouble or that the Galactic Council might punish humanity. Natalie worked hard to calm tensions, holding meetings to explain that compassion and caution could coexist. Protecting the Solari did not mean abandoning security, and the station's resources were sufficient to manage the situation. Aaron noticed that the young Solari were growing more confident. Eli began helping other children learn simple human words and basic routines. She shared stories of her home system, teaching them songs and traditions. Watching them adapt gave Aaron hope. He realized that rescue was only the first step. Integration and trust were equally important. Night after night, Natalie stayed in the observation room, watching the stars. She knew the Galactic Council might act soon. She feared they might try to take the Solari by force or demand the data core. But she also knew that humanity's choice had meaning beyond politics. By standing with the Solari, they had shown the galaxy what it meant to be human, to protect, to nurture, and to act with courage. Aaron joined her one evening. Noticing the strain on her face, they discussed plans for defending the station if needed. They also talked about reaching out to other colonies, seeking allies who could support them if the Council attempted intervention. Despite the danger, they both felt a sense of purpose stronger than fear. Eli watched from a nearby platform as humans and Solari worked side by side. She whispered softly to herself that perhaps the galaxy's rejection had been a cruel but necessary event. Humanity had embraced her people when no one else would. She felt a warmth in her chest she had not known for a long time. Hope. And as the Aurora and the station continued their work, preparing, learning, and caring for the Solari, the larger mystery of the storm loomed in the distance. Its slow, silent presence reminded them that the galaxy was not yet finished testing them. Yet humanity had taken a first step, one that would not be forgotten, one that would shape the choices of the future. The days at the medical station passed quickly, but tension never fully left the air. Humanity had given the Solari refuge, yet the Galactic Council's presence loomed like a shadow over the station. Natalie Green remained vigilant. She knew that sooner or later, the Council would demand control over the aliens or the secrets they now held. She could not let that happen. The Solari had already suffered too much, and humanity could not abandon them now. Aaron Keller worked alongside the Solari daily, helping them adapt and teaching them human technology. Eli became a bridge between the two species, guiding younger Solari and explaining human routines. She had started to smile more freely, though traces of fear still lingered in her eyes. She often told Aaron that the humans were different from the rest of the galaxy. They listened, they cared, and they did not turn away in times of need. One morning, Natalie received a secure communication from Ambassador Luke Harper. His tone was firm, and there was no mistaking the message. The Council demanded the Solari and the data core be surrendered immediately. They warned that refusal could be considered an act of rebellion, and the consequences could include the deployment of military fleets to enforce compliance. Natalie gathered her team, including Aaron and Sophia Grant, in the main briefing room. The air was heavy with tension. She placed the message on the table and spoke clearly. "We are not handing the Solari over. They have nowhere else to go. They are innocent of the accusations the Council made, and we will protect them, no matter the cost." Aaron nodded. "We also need to keep working on the data core. If the storm is artificial, we may have a chance to stop it before more systems are destroyed. This is bigger than just politics, it's a matter of survival," Sophia added. "We need to prepare defenses and gather allies. If the Council attacks, we cannot rely on humans alone. But if we act quickly, we can show the galaxy that standing with the Solari is the right choice." Natalie made immediate plans. The station's defenses were reinforced, and communication networks were strengthened. She also sent messages to human colonies, explaining the situation and asking for support. Many colonies responded quickly, offering ships, supplies, and personnel to aid in protection. The humans were determined not to allow the Council to punish them for helping those in need. Meanwhile, the Solari began sharing more information about the storm. They revealed that their ancient machine, the one that created the storm, was still active and moving slowly through uncharted space. It had a pattern, and it seemed to target areas with dense populations of intelligent life. Natalie realized that the machine could reach human colonies soon if it was not stopped. Aaron and Eli worked closely to study the machine's projected path. Using the data core and the Solari's knowledge, they began creating a map that showed its trajectory and possible weaknesses. They discovered that the machine relied on energy pulses from nearby stars and could be disrupted if its energy sources were blocked. This gave them hope. But time was running short. Tensions increased when the Council dispatched a small fleet to block the station's supply routes. Their message was clear: comply or face consequences. Natalie refused to respond with hostility, but she quietly prepared the station's defense systems. She knew she had to act carefully. Any mistake could cost lives. Aaron spent long hours with Eli, discussing strategies and learning more about her people's technology. He was amazed by their understanding of energy manipulation and their ability to predict the storm's behavior. Eli explained that the Solari had once used similar knowledge for peaceful purposes, creating energy shields for their cities. She believed the same principles could be applied to stop the destructive machine. Sophia and other human scientists worked on integrating Solari technology with human ships. The goal was to create a fleet capable of disrupting the machine while defending against any interference from the Council. Natalie oversaw every step, coordinating teams and ensuring that both humans and Solari felt included in the plans. As preparations continued, tensions among humans began to ease. Witnessing the Solari's intelligence, courage, and willingness to cooperate helped build trust. Slowly, prejudice and fear were replaced by respect and understanding. Even some of the Council's accusations were shown to be baseless as the Solari demonstrated their knowledge and harmless intentions. One night, Natalie and Aaron stood on the observation deck, looking out at the stars. Aaron asked, "Do you think the Council will really attack us?" Natalie shook her head. "I hope not. But if they do, we will be ready." Humanity has never backed down from protecting those who cannot protect themselves. Eli joined them quietly, her small form silhouetted against the starlight. She looked at Natalie and Aaron with a mixture of curiosity and gratitude. "You are different," she said softly. "The galaxy abandoned us, but you chose to help. I do not know why humans care so much, but I am glad you do." Aaron smiled. "It is who we are. We do not leave others behind." The next morning, alarms rang across the station. Surveillance drones had detected Council ships approaching the outer perimeter. Natalie immediately called a meeting. "We expected this," she said calmly. "Prepare defenses and activate the human Solari fleet. Remember, our goal is not to destroy them, but to protect ourselves and the Solari. If we can show strength and unity, we may avoid bloodshed." The Council fleet arrived in formation, massive ships blocking the approach to the station. Their communications channels opened, and Ambassador Harper's voice came through again. "Commander Green, this is your final warning. Surrender the Solari and the data core. Compliance is in your best interest." Natalie replied firmly. "The Solari are under human protection. You will not take them. If you attack, humanity will defend them. That is my answer." A tense silence followed. Then, unexpectedly, some of the human colonies that had promised support began sending fleets to join the station's defense. Other species, observing the events from nearby systems, expressed cautious approval of humanity's actions. The Council's power was formidable, but they had underestimated the unity and determination of those who stood for the Solari. Natalie coordinated the fleet, using both human and Solari ships to create a defensive perimeter. Aaron led a team to monitor the storm machine's projected path. Eli assisted, providing insights that no human could have known. The two species worked as one, combining knowledge and skill to prepare for whatever was to come. During the standoff, the data core revealed an important piece of information. The machine that caused the storm could be disrupted by a precise energy pulse at its core. The challenge was reaching it without triggering its defenses. Natalie and her team planned a small strike force composed of the fastest ships equipped with the necessary technology. The mission was dangerous, but it was their best chance to prevent further destruction. Aaron volunteered to lead the strike force, with Eli at his side. Natalie insisted she would accompany them. "I will not let my people and yours risk everything without me," she said. Together, they prepared their ships, running final checks and reviewing the strategy. The Scifi contributed with precise calculations and advice, ensuring every move was carefully planned. As they approached the machine's location, tension mounted. It loomed in space like a dark monolith, radiating strange energy pulses. The strike force moved silently, avoiding detection while preparing the energy disruptors. Aaron and Eli worked together to align the pulse perfectly. Natalie gave the signal, and the disruptors activated. A bright wave of energy surged from their ships, striking the machine directly. For a tense moment, nothing happened. Then, the machine's energy output began to fluctuate. Pulses weakened, and the storm patterns slowly dissipated. The crew watched in awe as the massive threat was neutralized. The Scifi who had survived the storm's earlier destruction breathed a sigh of relief. They had endured tragedy once more, but this time, hope had won. Back at the station, the Council fleet observed the event. They realized that humanity's actions had not only protected the Scifi but also prevented a galaxy-wide disaster. Public opinion across multiple systems began to turn against the Council, and they withdrew their ships, leaving humanity and the Scifi in peace. Natalie, Aaron, and Eli returned to the station as heroes. The Scifi expressed their gratitude in ways that were quiet but deeply meaningful. Children laughed and played in the gardens. Elders began teaching humans their culture and traditions. Humanity had given them safety, and in return, the Scifi shared knowledge that could enrich the galaxy. Natalie reflected on the events as she walked through the station. She realized that humanity's strength had never been weapons or fleets alone. It had been courage, compassion, and the willingness to stand for what was right. Aaron walked beside her, proud and quiet. Eli joined them, her eyes full of hope. The galaxy had rejected the Scifi, leaving them to suffer alone. Humanity had opened its arms, providing refuge, protection, and trust. The story of the Scifi's survival would be remembered, not just as a tale of danger, but as a lesson for all species, that true strength comes from helping those who cannot help themselves. As the stars continued to shine above the station, the future looked brighter. Humanity had faced a test, stood for justice, and emerged stronger. The Scifi had found a new home, and the galaxy had learned that compassion could not be ignored. And so, the station remained alive, with hope, work, and quiet celebrations. Humans and Scifi worked together to rebuild lives, explore new possibilities, and prepare for whatever challenges might come. The cosmic storm had been defeated, but the memory of those lost would remain as a reminder. Humanity's courage had changed the fate of an entire species, proving that even in a galaxy filled with fear and rejection, there was always room for compassion, unity, and a second chance. The stars stretched endlessly beyond the station, calm now, reflecting the lives saved and the bonds formed. Natalie, Aaron, and Eli looked out at the infinite sky together. Knowing that they had done more than protect lives, they had created a story that would inspire generations. The galaxy had rejected them once, but humanity had chosen a different path, opening its arms to those who needed them most, and in doing so, shaping a better future for all.